Alright, hey guys, and welcome back to another Battlefront 2 news update. And in this video, I'm going to be going over all the recently announced hero, reinforcement, and trooper changes that will be coming in Monday's update alongside BB-8, BB-9E, and sequel era capital supremacy. Now, before I jump into the video, if you guys are excited for this update, leave a big thumbs up on the video and comment down below if you are more excited for BB-8 or BB-9E. Also, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for all future Battlefront 2 news updates. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So first off, we are going to talk about all of the hero changes that are coming in the next update on Monday. The first thing is that they've added an ability crosshair for Kylo Ren's Frenzy and Emperor Palpatine's Chain Lightning. They've also fixed an issue that would not allow Darth Maul and Darth Vader to throw their lightsaber during a voice line action. They've also fixed an issue that causes some of the abilities of Luke Skywalker, Darth Maul, and Yoda to affect enemies through objects, which was a bit of a pain, but I'm glad they've fixed that now. They've also fixed the problem that would prevent players from getting kill assists for multiple buff abilities that helped allies killing an enemy. The UI range for various abilities is now white when it affects enemies and yellow when it affects friendly players, and the intro animations for heroes in the spawn and front end screen have been improved. As for some of the specific hero changes, starting with General Grievous, they've fixed an issue where he would drain too much stamina from an opposing player when using Unrelenting Advance. And those of you guys that play a lot of heroes versus villains, or even come up against Grievous a lot, you will know that the Unrelenting Advance completely drained your stamina from full down to nothing if you got hit with one of the slashes. So this is a really good fix. I think that was a huge problem, and Grievous is going to be much more balanced now. For Rey, they fixed an issue where her mind trick would not apply the VFX vignette around the screen of the affected player, and for Darth Vader, some really cool changes are coming as well. Darth Vader is now able to attack and block while using his choke, and they fixed an issue where you would remain stuck in the choke animation if he used the choke ability and tried to dash immediately after. So the biggest things there are that the choke is now fixed. We won't have to worry about that being an issue anymore, and you can go full Rogue One with him now, being able to block and attack while choking enemies. So this is going to be extremely cool. It's going to feel like Vader from Battlefront 2015 a little bit more, and I feel like we're going to have some really cool Rogue One action coming from Darth Vader. Moving on though, Emperor Palpatine is getting an absolute ton of changes, and as we know from the previous news update, Emperor Palpatine is getting a massive nerf. So what they've done is they've removed the slow movement on Dark Aura, which I'm not too sure about just yet. We'll have to see how it goes, but they've also reduced his single hand damage from his lightning from 15 to 14, so not a huge difference with that one, but they've reduced the double hand damage from 32 down to 28, and they've reduced the chain lightning radius from 26.25 meters to 18 meters. And I think these are really good changes. Palpatine is super OP at the moment, and these changes are going to be really good in terms of balancing. So he's probably no longer going to be one of the most unstoppable heroes on the dark side. So I'm interested to see how it goes in the update, because with his movement and the range that he can attack you from, and the amount of damage he was able to do, and how quickly he could take stamina away from Saber heroes, he was very powerful. So I'm glad that they've reduced this. And on top of all that, they've also reduced the damage he does against the TX-130, and they've fixed the issue where the chain lightning would occasionally go through lightsaber blocks. So overall, some really good changes for Palpatine. Next up is the other hero that we know is getting a decent nerf, and that is Anakin Skywalker. So for Anakin, the changes are that the pressure star card has reduced the values from 10, 20, 30, 40 to 10, 15, 20, and 25. They've also reduced the passionate strike damage on troopers and reinforcements from 130 to 70, and that's for the first strike, not both strikes together, just the first strike of passionate strike. So you still will do bonus damage if you hit them with both attacks. However, the first strike is going to do 70, not 130. They've also reduced the passionate strike damage on troopers and reinforcements from 250 to 180 as a maximum. So that's what I was talking about there with the second hit as well. They've also reduced the base damage of heroic might to troopers and reinforcements from 120 to 100. So if you have the upgraded star card for heroic might, you can still do 150 damage and take out infantry, but you're going to have to do a little bit more if you're going to take out officers and heavies. The last change that they are making to Anakin Skywalker is for his massive strike star card. Anakin Skywalker will now deal more damage with his lightsaber attack, but his stamina costs are increased. Now before, that didn't have the extra stamina cost, so this inclusion I think is going to be a really good change and might make a few people rethink their star card lineup for Anakin. So overall, some really good changes in balancing Anakin Skywalker. Moving on, we have a single change to Count Dooku where they added a yellow circle around the crosshair to show when Dooku has a critical hit available with his initiative star card. For Grandmaster Yoda, they've fixed an issue where his presence would not display the right amount of friendly characters who would be affected. also the issue where the intended effects of Yoda's presence ability would not apply if it was used in midair, and they've fixed the issue where users could receive a jumping advantage while using abilities in midair. And I'm sure a few of you have seen that, where Yoda can essentially fly across the air if you use the abilities in combination. They've now changed this to no longer work. Next up, a single change to Luke Skywalker, and they've fixed an issue where users could receive a jumping advantage while using the push ability in midair. And I didn't think this was actually an issue, I thought it was designed this way, but I guess it was actually a bug. So they've changed this now to not give you a jumping advantage when using the push while you're jumping in the air. A single change for Iden as well, where they fixed the issue that she could not manually deactivate her droid shield, and also a single change for Finn, which was that they fixed an issue with Finn's A Fight You Can Win milestone that wasn't tracking progress in co-op when eliminating First Order troopers. Han Solo gets increased damage to troopers for the shoulder charge ability from 150 to 200, and I'm really excited about this change. Being able to one-shot heavies with a shoulder charge is going to be extremely fun and make Han that much better on the battlefront. Now Boss gets a couple of changes as well, so they've said that they timed the UI elements of Bosk's proximity mines to reflect the moment when they actually become armed. For example, the moment when they can start to detect enemies in its vicinity. Now when you see the yellow radius circles appear around the mines, you know they have become armed. This will also make it easier to experience the improvement to the arming speed that the star card, the trap arming speed, brings. On top of this, they've fixed an issue where Boss could only throw 3 functional proximity mines while having the multi-trap star card equipped, and they've fixed an issue where the active time of Bosk's ability in Predator Instincts was ending before intended. So guys, those are all the hero changes, some really good stuff coming there. I'm really excited for the nerf to Palpatine and Anakin. I think that's going to bring them back down to the level of the rest of the heroes. Now there was a bunch of game mode and map changes, but nothing super interesting in there, so if you guys do want to read that, I will put the full community transmission in the description down below for you guys to read, but I'm not going to go through all of that, otherwise this video would end up being 20 minutes. So with this said, let's talk about some changes to classes and special units. The first one to mention is that they fixed an issue where crosshairs would not dim when using flame grenade or sonic imploders. The next one is for the Ovisian gunner, where they implemented spool up functionality for the gunner. Hold zoom to spool up the weapon so that it's ready to fire immediately when you find a target. We also updated the crosshairs to visually show that you need to spool up before you can fire, and added a tutorial pop-up to remind you about the new functionality as you equip your weapon. With the KFX spy, they've fixed the problem where the Stalker star card would not give you the correct value for the spy, and they've fixed an issue where the milestone death from above would not track eliminations done with the scanner beacon. On top of this, they've also buffed the length of the rapid fire ability, which personally I didn't think really needed a buff. It's a very powerful ability as it is, but with this increase to the length, I think it could even be on par or better than Han's sharpshooter ability. So we're going to see very soon what that's going to be like. It may have to be brought back down a notch in my opinion, but we'll see how it goes nonetheless. Couple of infantry changes. The assault made the Vanguard ability quicker to undeploy the weapon when the ability is out of time. The specialist had the same change with their infiltration ability. They've made the officer's battle command ability 360 degrees instead of a forward facing cone to allow for more effortless team play. With this change, they've also reduced the radius of the ability, since you can now easily buff friends all around you. Not only have they changed this, but for the officer's scoring, they've reduced the amount of score you get from kill assists when you've buffed a friend with your battle command who later kills an enemy, and they've adjusted VFX on target weapons during the officer's disruption. So again, those two changes are part of the officer nerf that they were talking about recently. I don't think it's personally enough just to take down the score you get from kill assists. I think maybe they need to change something to do with the battle point gain with the middle ability when you buff your teammates. So who knows, it may change, but we're gonna have to see when we test it. With the heavy, they've tweaked the sentry abilities to be more in line with the gunner in some respects. They've implemented the spool up functionality on all sentry versions as well, so you're gonna have to hold zoom to spool up the weapon so that it's ready to fire when you find a target. They've also removed the passive timer while in sentry so that you have more control over the number of shots you can fire while in each version of the sentry. Note that while fully spooled up, you will drain a small amount of time from your abilities total, but this drain will only deplete up to 80% of your total available time. Finally, we updated the crosshairs to visually show that you need to spool up before you can fire, and they've added the tutorial pop-up for the heavy as well as the gunner. Now, finishing it off with the reinforcement changes, the First Order Jet Trooper, they've implemented a feature where the Jet Trooper automatically gets spotted on scanners while flying with the jetpack. So this is going to make it a little bit easier to see them when they're actually in midair. You kind of know at least a general direction of where to look. The Death Trooper receives a slight nerf where they've reduced the normal max health from 350 to 320 in an attempt to bring it closer to the other enforcers and help bring its high high KD ratio, closer to the other Enforcer classes. Just a small change to the Commando droid where it will now evade by dashing instead of combat rolling if it is an AI. The droideka received an increased shield health from 550 to 600, which honestly I don't think is that big of a change, but they've also given the droideka 50% damage reduction while in wheel form, so I think that's a great change that they've made, and that will really help your survivability. For the B2 aerial, you'll be able to spot self when activating the jetpack as the same as the other aerials. The Sith Trooper receives an increase in the fire rate of its primary weapon, which honestly I didn't think it needed. I think it's really powerful as it is now. And finally, one vehicle change I wanted to go over, which makes me very happy. They've nerfed the AT-ST, however I don't think it is quite enough. So they've corrected the damage scaling for the improved weapon system star card, and they've also slightly reduced the anti-vehicle missile damage for the impact plus the splash damage. So now it should start at 300 without the star card and end at 420 with the above star card at epic level. Personally, I don't think this is quite enough of a nerf. I really think it should be brought down more, because we know when you're playing as a hero, this has the potential to do a serious amount of damage to anybody playing it. So hopefully they look at it, and if the numbers aren't quite there, they might look at nerfing it again, but this is a step in the right direction. Anyways guys, that is everything you need to know about all the hero, reinforcement, vehicle, and infantry changes coming in the next update. So if you guys weren't aware of this, hopefully the video helped out in some manner, and this way you guys are all ready to go for the next update. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here now. I appreciate all of you tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you are brand new on the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you again for watching. I will see you all later, and may the Force be with you always.
The Sith are all powerful. You are no match for me.